on the citizens of Jomalia, I asked, what kind of questions do y'all have for us? And today we have a special question from Elizabeth. She said, what are the scariest things that have ever happened to you guys while traveling? I got a lot of fucking stories.
Oh, I have a story as well.
Okay, well,
Start.
Please go.
Well, let me tell you. This isn't scary like threatening my life, but the first time I ever went
I don't want to hear it then, in case your turn.
First time I ever went to Canada, I didn't realize that the border was so strict. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And this was my first time getting booked for a show.
Especially going over for business.
Yeah, so it was in Calgary, and the only thing the promoter told us was like, hey, just tell them that you know you're hanging out with your friend. I was like, all right, cool, got it, cool, straight. So I'm at the border. They're like, okay, what are you here for? I'm like, I'm just hanging out with my friend. And he's like, all right, and how do you know your friend? I was like, oh shit. Immediately, I was like, I didn't know it was gonna be going into more questions.
I'm a celebrity. I don't know anything.
Well, I panicked and I was like, oh, well, I've never actually like met her. And the guy's like,
But you just said you were friends.
like, oh, you've never met her? Okay, okay.
I'm here to get pussy.
Well, so then they're like, how do you know this girl? I'm like, oh, we've been having a relationship on Facebook, and this is our first time meeting, and so he was an older guy, and he's like, oh, and he tapped the girl behind him, the younger one. He's like, do people do this? She's like, oh yeah, people do that all the time. But what was fucked up is I think for whatever reason he fucking searched my name up.
Oh no.
And then so then he's like, okay, well just have a seat. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm sit down.
What is a database like Instagram?
No, bro, I wasn't even. Yeah, just Google. And then so he like.
Do you think you're a pimp?
Man, who knows? But then he goes.
He's got a lot of booty pictures.
Then he goes, Tim, what do you? He's like, no. He goes, Timothy, come here. And that's when I should have had a hint because you know my real name is Tim, not Timothy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Oh wait, legally it's just Tim.
Because you go to youtube.com/Timothy.
I know. It has a nice ring to it.
So usually people do the shorter version, but you went the longer
Well, because
version.
it sounded better with De La Ghetto. Now that I'm going by Tim Chantarangsu, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna keep it Tim
So we
Chantarangsu.
can't call you Timothy no more.
If you want, personal
Not
preference.
that I called you Timothy anyway.
No one ever did.
No, I mean, who really calls me
Like, your
Timothy?
life is a lie.
It's all a lie. So, and then the girl behind him, she goes, oh, so he's a liar then. And she looks up at me. I'm like, fuck, what are they looking at, right? So he calls me over. He's like, Timothy, so what are you gonna be doing here tomorrow? What are you gonna be doing? I'm like, just hanging out with my friend wherever she wants to take me. I guess he's like, no, where are you going to be tomorrow night?
Oh my god.
And I'm like, and that was the night of the show.
Party or- oh,
That was the show, yeah. So I'm like, I'm gonna be wherever she wants to take me, and then the chick storms in and she's like, you're making yourself look stupid right now. We know who you are. I'm like, fuck! And I'm like, am I gonna get arrested? I don't know
Damn,
what
Canadians are supposed to be nice.
Wait, you don't want to do a show?
Well, without proper permit,
Yeah.
like if you're working, you need like you need a visa. So then he's like, go to the waiting room. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna go to Canadian jail. So I'm like,
take this shit serious.
I'm in the waiting room, bro. So I'm there for like an hour. It felt like, and then finally he calls back. He's like, Timothy, come back. I'm like, all right. He's like, he grabs my passport and he's like, you didn't even need a permit, you know. He's like, it's not in a club. It's just at a blah 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 because it was like at a car show. He's like, it's not in a club or a bar. You didn't even need a permit. I was like. He's like, do you know what you're doing tomorrow now? I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm gonna be performing at this thing. He's like, okay, now you know. I was like,
So he kind of dissed you too. He was like, if you're a little bit bigger, you've been doing like venues, then you need a permit. The little shit that you're doing, don't even worry about it, man.
bullshit. What you lying about this shit for?
That's crazy because the only time I've been to Canada was for work, was to do a show at Just for Laughs, and that was twice. But yeah, I don't know how that works because they did pay us, but it was like through Canada. Maybe they did all the paperwork ahead of time. That's crazy.
I've heard horror stories, like people they they want to travel light, so they have like their carry-on luggage, but it's all merch. And instead they start opening that, they confiscate that, people's guitars. They're like, wait, you're coming here for fun, but you're bringing a guitar, that gets taken away.
Yeah. Ever since then, I never lied at the border. I'm like, I'm coming here to perform at this, but I'm like. I'm doing this. It's not at a club. It's not at a bar. It's at this venue. You know, I'm like, yeah. I tell them everything.
So is that why they like say like, are you here for like work or vacation?
Yeah.
Because my friend books guests out in the UK, and they had a whole tour lined up, and they almost couldn't get Jin and his team because one of the DJs didn't know that they didn't have the permits. So he said, "Yeah, I'm here to like do these events," and so they were like, "Fuck."
because they didn't have the paperwork.
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah,
They take this shit seriously, bro.
because it is technically like a job, so they're getting paid and they're supposed to.
Like pay taxes or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
that's-
Why is it if you're a vlogger? But you're not getting paid through them.
Yeah, you just
You're there
lie.
for vacation.
Yeah, if you're there for travel, it's different. But if you got like an actual gig, like especially like let's say if it's like a big YouTube event and you know like there's just like this YouTube or like dancers have it the worst. Dancers just look like dancers, right? So if you show up at the airport and there's 12 fucking Filipinos with zigzag haircuts, you're like, oh, we're here just to travel. They're like, no, you're not. You're here to perform at some shit. I don't know, some fucking shit that's
It's like fucking if the Circus Soleil cast come in with bodysuits and a fucking whole hula hoop and shit. One's a clown, you know. They're like
Some of them are in the suitcase.
Bro, luckily one time we were going to the UK and it wasn't until we were literally right at the like we're gonna talk to the customs or where I was like, oh my god, wait, we don't have a story, we don't have permits. There's 4 of us, so I was like, okay. You and me, we went to school together. And you guys, we met on a trip last time we were here. We're like, okay, got it, cool. And then we got there, he's like, all right, so how you guys know each other? And we're like, oh, we at school. Everyone had the same story, like yeah. And then me and him, it's like, all right, just see if it's a party. We're like, yes, cool. And then, or else we would have been fucked, you know.
Wow. Well, coming back from Bali, the only trouble I had at the border was coming back home from Bali, which was our honeymoon. We were on no, it wasn't our honeymoon. It was the year before, after the Singapore trip with Maker. So we were on separate planes because Maker paid for Steve's flight and I paid for my own flight. And they were like, who are you traveling with? I'm like, oh, I'm just waiting for my husband. They're like, why isn't he with you? Where is he right now? I was like, oh, we just got engaged and like.
So it's even more confusing.
We just got, yeah.
yeah, that answers nothing.
Yeah, anyway, they stopped me in America is my point.
Yeah, man, it's a struggle, bro.
Doesn't it suck when the authority asks you questions, and even though they're really basic questions, but it's just since you're in that weird situation, they're like, they're like, where's your husband? And you're like, well, he's over there. Why isn't he with you? And that just makes you seem like you're fucking guilty as fuck.
I don't know. Why isn't he with me?
Like, this is fucking normal. Stop asking me that way.
Pulled to the side and they ask you additional questions and stuff. Well, besides that, but like before you board the plane, I got randomly selected to be like asked additional questions. They're like, did you purchase anything here? I'm like, I bought a mug from one of the souvenir shops. They're like, was it over $10,000? Like, no, it was I think 1995. I don't remember.
I've got randomly selected like 5 times in a row.
Yeah, same. In Europe, especially.
Yeah, why? When I was a kid?
Randomly selected, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, every time I would go on a flight, like they would pull me out, like I would have like the longest talk because they didn't believe I was under 18. And like, you know, when you're like 14, 15, you don't have an ID.
Yeah.
So when you go on a flight, you just go.
That's funny.
And are you traveling with your family or someone?
Someone like my brother and stuff.
You have a beard or something?
Yeah, like little stubble.
God damn.
That's true. You
still can't get stubble.
You don't look under 18.
At this age.
Yeah.
Well, you look when you were 19. When I met you, 19 or 18.
18.
You're 18 and you still look like this.
Yeah.
True. I thought you were older than me when I met you.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Dude, we would go to Vegas. This guy's 18, 19, and they're carding me and not him.
They carded him. Stop asking me for my ID.
Only when I turned 21 did they start carding me. Like everywhere. I think it was just like the confidence, maybe. But I think when I was 21, I still felt like it was wrong. Like even to this day, when I go, I feel like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get fucked up. Like it's not gonna work. But
How much of a blessing is it now when people ask for your ID still, though? I love
It's
it.
dope.
Whenever
I don't
order,
like it.
I love it, bro. When people order drinks,
Really?
when I order drinks and they're like, oh, I'm like, thank you so
do
much.
they do that or it's by
same.
policy?
That extra step though?
Well, the policy at a restaurant is if they look under 35, you card.
Yeah.
Which is tight, because I'm over 35, and then they're like, this guy looks under 35.
Because I feel like, I just fucking put my wallet away, man. Again.
Get all lazy.
And then you bring your strap around to unzip it.
Ask me once next time.
You know, if you travel with a kid, you actually have like special benefits. You get to go in with the first class.
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So I forgot where we're going, but it's supposed to be technically under 1, because then you got to situate the kid and put the stroller away. But when I heard that, I'm like, oh shit, Tyka, give him the stroller. So
Yeah, you just get in
Oh,
line.
you passed him for under 1?
We were doing.
What was he, 2?
Yeah, I guess 2 already.
We were doing that with Isaac up until he was like 8 or something. We just get in the
You're like,
fucking line.
put
We're
this
just
pacifier in your mouth.
Yeah, just like let me carry you for a little bit.
I wonder, like, when you know how they say, like, oh, if you served in like the military or something, all the people that play Call of Duty, that they just try to act like they get up and they're like, oh shit, no.
Yeah, I'm a veteran.
not.
One of my boys, we were he was super late for this flight. It was after playlist, right? And I remember seeing his stories the night before because we were on the same flight. And I seen his stories. He was like out partying mad late. I was like, yo, he's gonna miss this flight. And then I'm at the terminal, and then I see him getting wheeled up, and I'm like, bro, how did you get here? He's like, dude, I knew I was gonna be late for this fucking flight. So like my friend had like crutches, and like if you go to the airport and they see that you have a broken leg, they will wheel you past like through security and all that, so you can skip the line. I was like, what? So he bypassed all that shit. I mean,
smart.
Yeah, and then he didn't have to go through like the long ass line.
Why doesn't more people do that? I feel like that's amazing.
Because it's lying.
You win by being a lazy drunk.
Actually, my two scariest moments traveling were both involving Steve being fucking sick or hurt while we were trying to fly home. So the scariest one was Costa Rica, and we've talked about that one before. It was 2 years ago, and we got stuck there because he had kidney stones in this most remote part of Costa Rica, like on the peninsula, where you have to drive 45 minutes in a bumpy ass car just to get to an airport to fly you to the other airport to take you internationally. Yeah, it was fucking scary. And he got kidney stones on the second day we were there. Like,
damn.
Like we were about
The whole trip.
Yeah, the whole trip we were just stuck in the hotel room.
Did you ever go, suck it the fuck up?
At first, because he's good at hiding pain, I was like, it's nothing. And then he keeled over, he couldn't move, he was on the floor, he's like, just leave me. He's like, just go on without me. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking leave you.
Oh, jet ski, go!
Like it's a war movie.
I know.
Yeah.
Go on.
So we had to find a doctor, and everything's closed on Sundays. There's no doctors. We don't speak Spanish, so it was really hard to get him a doctor. And he's like in the fucking street. Then I went to go get cash because everything was cash at this part of the island, and you had to go way across the other side of town to get to an ATM machine because I ran out of cash, and then the ATM machine ate my card, and then I had to get my passport that it was back at the hotel, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die here. And I had to take care of Steve, so that was really, really fucking scary. And just like navigating that, I'm like, I learned a lot. I'm like, always have cash, know some of the language, something.
How did you know that Steve wasn't busting one of those colorblind things?
Oh, he was crying. He was acting like a big pussy. I was like, there's...
You were never told that way, right?
He had so much morphine pumped into him, and he was still like, it's 10 out of 10. And I'm like, oh my god, I have never seen him ever.
How many days until he passed the stones?
He didn't pass, so we had to wait a month because it was right around Christmas time.
You took a flight with the stones in him?
Yes, and then for a month, we couldn't get an appointment to get it surgically removed. So we had to go to the emergency room 2 weeks after we got back home. It was all during Christmas time, so everything's like shut down. And then it was New Year's, so like everything's shut down again. And so in order to get an appointment, it was like we had to book it like 3 weeks in advance. And then we went to the emergency room just so he could get some morphine or some painkillers or something. And they like did some sort of not a CAT scan, but something where they could see how big the stone was. And it was like a millimeter, almost a centimeter. It was 10 millimeters, so it was like a centimeter.
Civil War bullet.
Yeah, it was huge. And they're like, you're gonna have to get that surgically removed. The first doctor we went to wasn't covered by the health insurance, but the health insurance was covered the hospital. The second one, the hospital wasn't covered, but the doctor was covered. The fucking health insurance is crazy, and you get charged for each visit.
Oh yeah.
It was nuts, man. And then he finally got it surgically removed, and he had a catheter and all kinds of shit.
I feel like I'd rather have my kidney stones surgically removed than passing them through my pee hole.
Fuck yeah.
I heard like, it cuts the whole time, and
I'd rather go through surgery, man.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, same.
Because he had to have a catheter for a week after the surgery.
Oh god.
Yeah, yes.
Oh,
and then they had to
God.
pull that out. Like, it's not like... it's not fun.
Do you guys have sex at all that time?
Oh no, we didn't. That was our biggest dry spell. I was like kind of pressuring him. I'm like, come on, you can get your dick up. Come on, fuck it. I'm kidding. No, it was pretty painful.
Imagine you had to pass it through your nut.
Dude, my urethra hurts just thinking about it.
Right? And then the other time traveling, Steve got sick on the day we were supposed to travel home. He got crazy sick with like the flu where he couldn't even fucking like lift his head. And I had to wheelchair him through the airport, through 2 international airports with his luggage and my luggage.
Oh my god.
Where was this?
And everyone thought he was drunk.
Yeah, sunglasses on and everything.
And they're like, too much. And I'm like, no, he's just really sick.